Tonight's discussion. Uh, my name is Nancy Woods. I am the assistant minister here at the Granada Hill Center for Spiritual Living. And joining me tonight is Reverend Kathy Lyons, who is helping us out. Reverend Maureen is taking the night off. And Kathy is going to light the candles for us as we do our call to service. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all people, all faiths, all sentient beings come from one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unified nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. And so, as Reverend Kathy lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for the shamanic tradition, honoring the beliefs and practice of all indigenous people, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light the 10th candle for all those who are as yet unaware of spirit in their lives, and for the space we are holding for them here at the center in our hearts and in our minds. And as Reverend Kathy lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flames of God's eternal love.
Trust in God. I surrender. I surrender. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I surrender. I surrender. I trust in God.
Grateful I am to be here tonight to serve at the Granada Hills Center for Spiritual Living. And right now, as I speak in the first person for everyone here and online, I recognize this presence, this power which is God, and that God is love, faith, trust, and assurance. And I am one with God, one with its love, faith, trust, and assurance. So I declare that this discussion group is a perfect idea in the mind of God as we embody and just feel and experience love, faith, trust, and assurance that all is well. We now know that God's presence is everywhere, all that there is. So I am always guided, directed, and protected, trusting that all is well. And so how grateful I am as I give thanks for this session tonight where I discuss having faith, trust, and assurance, and releasing all fear. So as I release my word, it's within faith, trust, and conviction that it is so, and together we say, and so it is. Hello, good evening, everyone, and online. We're going to have a lively discussion. I'm going to give a few announcements for today. At the Sunday service, practitioners are available online and here at the center. If you come to the church at the service, you can call upon one of the practitioners to go to the treatment room and have a 2-minute tune-up. Or if you want to contact a practitioner online, go to CSLGH.org. Please note that tomorrow, Thursday, Tai Chi class is not going to be meeting, but it will meet again on October 9th from 11:30 to 12:30 p.m. This Saturday, October 4th, we're having a Karma Yoga retreat facilitated by Reverend Jeannie Hoffman. If you want to sign up, see the sign-up sheet in Sparks Hall, or you could contact our administrator, Danny, in the office. Self-mastery class will continue Monday, October 6th from 6:30 to 9 o'clock. This is the last week to join the 8-week course, so either see the details in Sparks Hall or contact Danny in the office. And let's see, it's October 6th at 6:55. The Silent Unity Movement will have their evening of Hunter Moon celebration. October 8th, 7 p.m. Kitty Hack will do her Taizé service. We'll host the Spirit of Taizé. Please join us for an evening of quiet reflection and peace. October 18th is our Granada Hills Street Fair. You can sign up at the Sparks Hall to be in our booth. We're going to be right outside over on Chatsworth Street, and it's a lot of fun. You get to meet and greet all the people in the neighborhood and even do a little shopping at the booths. I'll be there midday. So that concludes our announcements, and now we're going to have our discussion. Thank you.
And I want to thank everyone for joining us, and thank our people for attending. We're still taking our topics from the book, Living Decisive Mind by Ernest Holmes. It's a great book. It has a lot of topics. It covers in a summary-like way. And tonight, the topic is You Have Dominion. So, Mary Jane, you want to start? The mic's right there next.
Okay, Living Science of Mind book, page 169, You Have Dominion. With an understanding of this science, fear should disappear. And with direct application of this principle to your problems, you will discover that they will begin to seem less insistent.
Begin to act as though you already had dominion over evil, as though all fear were a phantom, and as though everything you have been afraid of were unreal. Declare the truth by saying there is nothing to be afraid of, that you no longer entertain any images of fear, that good is the only power there is, that this good, which is the only power there is now operating in your affairs.
Know that good is omnipotent. Know that the truth instantly, effectively, and permanently destroys every fear and every effect of fear. Know that you are governed by intelligent
voice a little louder, if you can.
Know that you are governed by infinite intelligence. Know that you are directed by divine guidance, and that you are compelled to think and act constructively. And therefore you know that everything you do, say, or think carries with it the divine authority.
Freedom already exists, but your freedom is in your own thought. Hence, it is not enough to say, God is free, which, of course, is a true statement, but this statement must be made personal. The freedom of God is my freedom. The power of God is my power. The presence of God is in me. The mind of God is my mind. The strength of God is my strength. And the joy of God is my joy.
Now, I think this topic is very appropriate for the current time, as far as, at least for me, it is important to remember this idea so that I don't get caught up in some of the fear stuff that I have been exposed to on the line. The very first paragraph, it's almost like I know this, but it's really important to me to keep being reminded of it. And I think that this science is working, and it does work when I apply it, but only when I apply it. So, anybody wants to share that this struck them as significant? Mary Jane.
Well, I got sold right at the beginning with an understanding of the science. Fear should disappear. And then I think I get from this reading that there's a lot of verbs in here about applying, application,
It's off.
act as though. It's like we have to practice this, you know, but to practice to know the truth. So it's my mind that takes me away from the knowing. And it's my job to instruct my mind through science of mind that divine spirit knows for me, and I accept that there is no thing as fear. It's all in the mind. Act as though you already had dominion over evil. We say that in AA, you know, act as if. Mm-hmm. Even though you may have some fighting inside you about it, act as if. And if you do that enough, it takes over. You begin to believe it. And all through this, fear was a phantom. It's not real. There's nothing to be afraid of. And every time I practice this, I just feel so much better. When I'm in the moment, and I'm doing my life, I have nothing to fear. Fear comes in when I'm thinking of the future, most of the time. And so for right now, I have nothing to fear. I'll just say that for now, to start, and pass it on.
Kathy, you have anything to say about it?
Yes. What I learned too about getting caught up in fear, there's a lot of opportunities to do that. You can turn on the TV, go online. And what I've learned that not to get into that stuff, because there's so many things and a lot of things on the news, a lot of times even magazine articles, things that I read on the internet. A lot of it is fear-based, a way of perpetuating fear. And if I do read things, it's just for information. It's not to get caught up. Reverend Maureen talks about that too, that a lot of times if we read about something, it's strictly for information. It doesn't mean we have to take it in ourselves. And I think Mary Jane too is right about if I'm not living in the present, I'll start thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow or several years from now or a week from now, and we only have control over this. Although there are things that I do to eliminate that fear. If there's certain things that I need to take care of, right now I'm doing some repairs in my home. Those are obviously things I'm doing to make things more comfortable or updating my living trust. But then if I get those things done, then I'm not worried about it. So I think being proactive, but getting caught up in all this, I kind of like, you know how just like we get spam on our phone calls or in our email, a lot of this stuff in the race consciousness is what I like to call spam. You know, don't take it on, delete it. You know, live in the present.
I think I like that idea too. Call it spam. I think that the thing that struck me with this is currently I'm not so much as feeling fear consciously, but I begin to understand that fear is sometimes underlying some other things when I hesitate to step into something, a role that I'm desiring. And so when I look at it in detail, usually it's like, can I really do it? What would they think of me? How would I look? And all of that. Those kind of things is kind of creep up. It's that underlying fear that stops some of the steps that I normally would take. So I have to be, but one of the things that really resonate with me is that act as if. If I act as if, it's kind of like Emma Curtis Hopkins, I read, she said, you gotta continuously look forward, look up, not down. Look up to the spiritual presence. So getting that into that mode of knowing that if I surrender to that concept and awareness and just go ahead and walk into what the experience is, part of the journey I find myself on right now is finding, just taking the step. It helps me, taking that first step helps me feel it out where is the hesitation coming from? What is the background that's preventing me from stepping into this? So not overt fear that's coming up. I know a lot of it on television and stuff, but I think more, those are the kind that I find has occupied my mind recently. Are there underlying fears of age, underlying fears of being able to care for myself, being able to always be able to do what I desire to do, or go where I desire to go. And so I start looking at that, and am I looking up and stop allowing myself to get caught up in not doing it. Step out, just step out and do it. And it makes a big difference for me, I think.
Those are really good shares. Thank you. I was just thinking about the news. I'm okay until I turn something on. Okay, the news. As we all know, fear sells. News sells. They're selling stuff. They're informing, but it's also they have a choice of what to pick to put out. Mm-hmm. They could pick the other side and say maybe this and this happened, but this also happened. I think of like CBS Sunday Morning, one of the only shows that has good things. They show what's positive happening around America. I've been watching it for years. You don't see any fear stuff going on there. And it's enjoyable. And I'm learning things all the time. And I leave there feeling good. I thought, wow, I didn't know that these people were doing this. We don't hear about it. But we hear about things that bring up our fear. And why is that? So they're playing to our thought mind, to our addictions. Because fear can be addicting. Well, for me at least. So this, I was looking at the verbs in here and some of the nouns. Begin to act as though you already had dominion over. Dominion, dominate, dominating over. Know that good is omnipotent, all-knowing, everywhere. Divine authority. Okay, so freedom already exists. And what does it say here? It says, so therefore you may know that everything you do, say, or think carries with it a divine authority. So we do have to take responsibility. I have to take responsibility. I can't just say it's there and, maybe somebody will show it to me. It's like, I need to continue to keep declaring it. And I know others have practiced this. When I practice this on a daily basis, and I may goof up and mess one day or something. I'm not perfect at any of this. But when I practice it, that other stuff, the fear, starts to diminish. It starts to get less and less. And I start to feel better. It's like a muscle that's exercised. I heard the other day, Joan Baez was quoting Ann Patchett. She said, hope is a muscle. Use it. Now, we don't talk a lot about hope here. We have knowing. We know. It's not that we hope. So knowing is a muscle. Use it, So it's the practicing and the knowing that, this is where I want to live. This is where I want to live. Worrying and being in fear does not change the outcome. Right?
Right.
Am I wrong on that?
No,
you're not.
It doesn't change the outcome. So why should I live there?
The thing, too, is when we start, at least for me, if I start going on that monkey mind of what if this happens and what if, the law of cause and effect or the universe, they're going to hear about what I'm fearing. And there was this minister from years ago, his name was Carlton Whitehead, and he said, if you worry about something, you're treating for it. And that's kind of like, that's kind of harsh, but it's true. When I do a treatment, whatever I'm saying, that's what the law is going to take in. And even if I'm starting to say, I'm so worried that this is going to happen, or this is going to happen, or, it says on the TV that there's some horrible thing going to happen, and I buy into it, that's what I'm going to create in my reality. A lot of times, it's, our mind is what creates our reality or how we perceive things. So it's better then to think about, like I'll tell people if they're lamenting about something, what is it that, what is it you want? Or I'll ask myself, well, what is it that I really want? What do I desire? What, envision myself in those types of experiences, not, this could happen and that could happen and this and that, or am I going to have enough money in the future, or am this going to happen? That's not productive at all. It's okay, what do I want? What do I really desire? Or another thing too, talking about the past, what didn't work. I had this relationship that didn't work, or this didn't work out for me. Well, so what? What do I want now?
Exactly. That's, to be in that other place, it's what I first learned when I came in to science of mind, which really excited me, is that change your thinking, change your life. And it's the thinking. If I keep thinking of something I don't want or putting myself down, that's what I'm going to get. So I just can't say enough about this science of mind, that I just feel so much better when I practice it and know that that's where I belong.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that talking about getting drawn into the news, and I was finding myself first thing in the morning scrolling, looking at the latest news, getting upset. And recently I talked with a friend and she said, yeah, I don't go on social media. I don't go on to, the internet. It's like, oh, what a novel concept. I mean, especially for those of us who didn't necessarily, we didn't grow up with all of this internet and so connected and cell phones. So really, we have a memory. We have a memory of not engaging in that way. We have a memory of actually talking to people. I remember, I raised 3 kids, and I used to go to the store, and I would say, okay, I'm going to the store. That was completely my own time. No one was able to contact me, call me on the phone. So I have a choice. I can remember those times when I'm not completely, really it's like an addiction. And someone recently, I went to a town hall here a couple of weeks ago, and someone mentioned the algorithms on the internet, and they're drawing you in to hear what you want to hear. And the other people are drawn into what they would like to hear. So if I really just disengage, and I like the idea of hearing positives. So recently for myself, I was thinking, I want to think positively, wake up in the morning, look at the sunshine, be present in my own life, and not be drawn into what others are choosing to put on the internet. So I'd like to, and like it says, I can think positively, and that will lead me to more positive.
Yes. Yeah, I like what you mentioned about the phone. That's what I really begin to be aware that if I look at a story on there, then all of a sudden I see 9 things, next 9 things come up. It's going to be about that same kind of topic. My friend said they were dopamine hits, but I said, and I'm going to tell you the truth, I have sit down, set my phone up when I go to bed, and half an hour later I'm still. So I have to be conscious of that, because if I listen to a song, before I know it, there's 4 more songs on there, like, so it really would pull me in because that's on my mind, and I'm being conscious of that recently. Let me say how you say it. I have noticed that if I am critical of myself about something, and I'm saying you shouldn't be doing this, and when I start being that, those kind of things end up showing up in my life more. So I'm beginning to understand that there is that such thing as that which you're pushing away or knocking is perpetuated just as much as that you're pulling. Long as your mind is going in that direction, I really begin to understand that I am truly creating my own experience by those incidents. And so I haven't knocked them. I just begin to realize that I am truly the author of my own experience. And I can, whatever I pay attention to, I create more of. And it seems like it's happening more. The more I follow, more I am aware of this philosophical thinking of how I'm creating my experience, the more instant it returns to me. And it's getting faster and faster over time. And I noticed that if I talk about not wanting things to happen, if I put too much energy in, especially if I get upset or emotional about it, that just doubles up my time and it comes faster. So this is probably perfect for me right now, because I realize that looking upward, looking towards the positive things is a necessity for me right now, because saying that I don't believe in this, and I don't know, that which I knock and push away, it seems like it's more to push away. If I look at, and if I just look at the songs that I find uplifting, all of a sudden it seems like a whole lot of people are singing those kind of songs around me. So it comes so fast now that it's really making me a lot more conscious. Even when I read books, I begin to understand. If I get one book and I don't even have to evaluate the book, I order one book from Amazon, all of a sudden everybody's book under that topic is being advertised on my phone. So it's really like, it's not just them doing it, it's me that's creating these experiences for myself.
Well, all this thing with algorithms, it's almost like a metaphor for the law of cause and effect. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed that. I've even noticed if I'm talking about something and I have my phone next to me. One time I was practicing a speech for Toastmasters on health and fitness, and then I looked at my phone and there's all these things, fitness, advertisements. So, and I think the word goes out even before we knew any of this existed. My word was still going out somewhere and coming back through me. And I've noticed I have Facebook because I have relatives who live out of town. My niece lives out of the country, and I have some old friends. And I noticed that one time I was shopping for window blinds, and all of a sudden all these things come up on my phone. And I've noticed if I look at something on Netflix, then something in that same subject matter comes up, and it's like, wow. And sometimes I watch crime shows and I think, well, maybe those aren't uplifting things to watch, Maybe look at things that have positive outcomes.
I think that this concept of having dominion is really significant for us right now, because of, I don't know about you, but it's not just the television, it's also the friends, the calls, people mentioning things to you. I found that setting an intention at the beginning of the day has kind of helped me. I've been working with that regular of setting an intention to stay in my loving or to be at peace with and harmony with my environment. And it helps me have more harmony than I had before. I think that makes a difference for me. It's, what about this last paragraph? Freedom already exists, but your freedom is your own thought. It is not enough to say God is free, which of course is a true statement, but this statement must be made personal. The freedom of God is my freedom. The power of God is my power. The presence of God is in me. The mind of God is my mind. The strength of God is my strength. And the joy of God is my joy. You know, these are very strong affirmations. Some of them I found myself, I practice. One of the things that I find that I'm beginning to learn how to practice more is God is my health. And my health is the health of God. Really working with that concept has kind of freed me from getting hung up. If something show up, I decided that my shoulders, for a while there, I was having issues, so I said, okay, I have to make sure that I let this go. So it just seemed like it was not letting go, and it got more into it. So I said, I'm going to do everything I can to help my shoulders. So I ordered the chair where I lift from my stairs, where I don't carry stuff upstairs. I have it lifted. I decided to order stuff and not buy in bulk. Order, and so that it comes small amount. And I did those steps, but I kept in mind that if any discomfort, I said, okay, whatever is in my consciousness, what is this trying to tell me? And I moved it. And I am telling you that I've noticed that it's been almost a year. I am so grateful. Because it was like, even though I felt like I took the steps, I still saw myself as claiming that the health, whatever was in my shoulders, I was freeing myself from, and let it go. So it's almost like everything that I did was supporting the idea of what I wanted. And so the end result was that Spirit, I feel like Spirit showed up totally to free me from those issues. And I don't find I have, and that's just one example of surrendering. It's kind of like in the creative process, you plant the seed, but you can still water it and feed it a little fertilizer. But you know that the actual growth process for that seed is coming from the nurturing of the soil of spirit itself, and it grows from spiritual presence of life. So I saw the steps as part of me accepting that I wanted to stay focused in that direction, and that the rest that it was up to me to stay focused in that direction. So the spiritual presence of life is what does the work. It isn't so much as me making it better. It is me and embracing the idea that I trust spirit.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. That helped me a lot. And what Reverend Kathy said too. You said, what is this trying to tell me? That's really good to hear tonight, because when I do have certain body pains or something, okay, how can I fix this? Do this and I'll do that and all that. Instead of, okay, what is this trying to tell me? So to be open for divine spirit to work through me. God, I'm so tired of myself trying to control things. It's like, that's the independent woman I've been all my life. I've always come to, just do this, do that. I'm a good problem fixer. But I don't want to be that anymore. I want to ask Spirit to help me. What am I supposed to know here? What's the truth? And because I don't go to this right away all the time, I'm getting better and better at, knowing peace of mind and knowing joy and everything. So I forget, I can ask for help. What is this trying to show me? And your demonstrations are perfect for me tonight to hear, because I too can do that. And I know it'll change. I'm just so excited about that. If I get waylaid somehow, then I could get plugged back in to coming to some sort of solution, something to clear up my mind. Oh, God, this mind, I'm telling you. I get so tired of it sometimes. Last summer, I just had a constant running mind, constant. And I asked for help all the time. I tried to do things, and it started to get better by the end of the summer. But, oh, my gosh. And, I was thinking of what you were saying about when you were talking about the news. It's addictive. I can feel my addiction. I really I said, okay, no turning on that computer when you first wake up. That was my first thing. Go to your prayer book, I have Science of My magazine, read that. I have my little spiritual readings. And I've been feeling better doing that. But after about 5 or 6 days, it's like, I wonder what's happening. And so there I am back at the computer when I first get up. And I get hooked. I can feel myself getting hooked. And the algorithm thing, I'm telling you. All I have to do is look at one. I go, oh, that's kind of interesting. Maybe a certain, I love trains. Maybe a certain train back in Pennsylvania or something. I go, let me watch this back in the 50s or something. The next thing I know, I'm getting 50 YouTube train videos. And I got cancel, not interested. And so it really is a trap. And thank you for appreciating. I kind of drive many of my friends crazy with nostalgia, but I love, walking down the street and not having anybody calling me or anything going on. And, I tell people, I'm over here now. So I cut myself off, but I just long for the days when we could just go anywhere. And when I see people in the store with everything in my classroom, and they get in and they're looking at this thing, it's like, oh, please. It really is hard. It's hard for a lot of us. But anyway, I do have to apply it. I do have to apply it in my life. And I can just tell you, I do feel better when I stay out of fear. Mm-hmm. And I just want to keep practicing that, because I feel like I have dominion over my life. I could sit there and complain about a lot of things, but when I get into the other place of knowing that right now all is fine, I go, suddenly I'm through the day, and at the end of the day, and I think, hey, this was a pretty good day. Mm-hmm. So change my thinking, change my life. It's, but this is a really good thing for me to hear, and for us to hear today about fear and how we can handle it.
I'm grateful too that I hear things like this, and it reminds me that some of my judgments that I'm letting go of, because I had to realize that I was on my nieces and nephews' case about being on their phones for long periods of time, only to find myself doing the same thing. So, well, and at first I was saying, dang, you done thought into it, and now you're doing it. And then, you know what, I said, no. This is a lesson. This is Spirit saying, if you go down that road of judgment, it's your own consciousness that you are judging and condemning. So it's telling me to lay off. I'm beginning to understand that each spiritual path be their spiritual path. Each avenue be their own avenue. And long as I can surrender to the idea that everybody is spirit and they're going to do it their way. And I think that the lesson for me was controlling and fixing. Those two components of life had me buying into patterns. And I'm beginning to understand that I can let them go too. And this is my own journey. I realize it's my journey that I'm working with, because if I see a pattern of behavior that I'm judging and I'm looking at it and not looking at the divine presence of that person, then it's my consciousness that is perpetuating it. And it really is tough for me in the sense of being around the younger ones in my family, that I can let other people do it, but when it's close, it's more of a challenge for me to let it be.
One of the things, too, that every generation thinks the next generation is doing things that aren't good. I remember my parents, because television started to exist around the time I was born. So I grew up with television, and they were concerned about watching television instead of reading. And fortunately, I did start a love of reading when I got into high school, and I wasn't as interested in television. Or I used to I'd be in my room, I'd have the radio on, like the Beatles or all the 60s music, and that's not healthy. So every generation does things. And I remember, too, when I was in junior high and high school, you'd write a little note and you'd pass notes to the kids in class. And now they have the texting, and I realize that is a little bit, probably you can get in more trouble with that. But it seems like young people like to stay connected with one another. That seems to be something even before texting and cell phones. So I have to remember that when I see, get critical of if I see too many kids on their phones too much. Well, my parents thought, I was on the TV too much and listened to this horrible music, rock and roll music.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I really need to hear this also, because that's one place that's not good for me, is being in my judger. That's a little too frequent these days. And it's the same thing as fear, practically. It takes me away from the divine spirit of living in the divine spirit. I take myself out, and now I'm judging others. And and you're right. I mean, there'll be times when I do the same thing that I judge in others. So I really don't like that part of me either. So then what do I get to do? Beat up myself, and then it's just this vicious circle. So I'm trying to break these habits that I've had for a long time because I'm getting older and I'm tired of. I'm really tired of. Because I enjoy the last few years wherever I'm at. I live more in joy, peace, mind. That's why I like science of mind, because it brings that kind of solution to living a joyful life. And no judgment. I'm getting better at not judging myself so harshly because I've been practicing it with other people. But now the judgment of others it just comes like automatic. And I want to stop doing that as much too. Just
I got it. What I was sharing with you earlier from Michael Beckwith. He said when it shows up, I'm see if I can remember. I'm probably paraphrasing this one, but when it shows up for you, rather than being self-critical, ask yourself what's trying to emerge out of this experience. And if you go there, then you're opening yourself up for the spiritual message at this experience. I really like that.
So I've been thinking similarly that I want to be in joy. That's why I came tonight. I said, I'm in the process, I want to be content, not be into fear of something in the world. And I've seen that. And there have been times in my life where I felt so free and so happy and so content. And I've been thinking, what was it then? It was being in spirit. It was waking up in the morning and saying, oh, hello, sunshine, sing songs outside. And I want to remind myself, this is like an excellent read. And I want to, it says, know that you are governed by infinite intelligence. Know that you are directed by divine guidance and that you are compelled to think and act constructively. Therefore, you may know that everything you do, say, or think carries with it a divine authority. And yeah, it's like, because I'm, feeling like, I'm not doing it right, I'm not living this life correctly, or it's like judgment, like the self-judgment. And I need to let that go and claim this, that I am directed by divine guidance. Therefore, you may know that everything you do, say, or think carries with it a divine authority. And I want to embrace exactly that, to get to a place of peace, 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 so that I could follow my own inner guidance, this divine guidance within me, so that I can do, say, and think with divine authority.
Perfect, beautiful. I was thinking about that joy. I like to both of y'all mention joy. I have recently thought about, they said the joy is, we already have the joy, and it's in us. So I've been working with the idea of just seeing what it was like to have joy, just to be in the joy. If I'm just sitting on the couch, can I be in joy? If I'm doing anything, can I just feel that joy coming up? And I got the idea when I was working with this coach, and she said, you say beauty is already everywhere. She said, I want you to go to the park and feel the beauty without looking at anything as beauty. And I kept doing that, and after a while, I kind of caught onto it, and it was a whole different experience in the park, because even I remember thinking, all of a sudden, the beauty was everywhere, and I saw this tree that was rotten, laying down in the thing on the ground, and I said, "Oh wow, this is beauty too." And I started thinking about it from the place, and there's artists that would take a picture of that and show you the true beauty of that. And so I began to feel the beauty that was there, and if I had the beauty, no matter what the tree was, there was something about everything I looked at that I felt like the beauty was there. So I've been working with the idea of joy is already in me. So can I say joy with everything that's around me? I mean, well, it's a question. I mean, I'm looking at this and thinking, okay, I think I'll try to see even more. Just knowing that I have this joy and see it, I see it. Like, I mean, it's easy for me to I come here on Sunday, and I know that I'm going to share. It's easy. It's almost automatically. I find myself in joy from the moment I hit that door. It's a joyous experience because I've experienced it so many times. So it's nothing in I can. Word could be just walking the door and feel powerful. And I'm inspired for me to see I hope I'm here. So that's already there. And I mean to that experience. So I've been trying to gosh, sit on my couch. So I totally appreciate the idea that y'all brought that up.
Just one quick thing.
Oh, it's time for us to go.
Real quickly, Jane Goodall died, I think today
I saw that.
or yesterday.
Who?
Jane Goodall, the
Oh.
chimpanzee, she studied chimpanzees in the
Yeah, I
Gombe
know who you're talking about.
forest. What a life of living through everything, through destruction, environmentalists, forests being cut down, but she stayed in the truth, about what chimpanzees could teach us and the importance of climate and the natural environment and what these animals can teach us. Her whole life is a truth. She didn't veer from it at all. She's just one of my heroes. I think she's a real good example.
That's definitely
Something like this.
Oh, very strongly. Oh, guys, it's already time. I'm going to say goodnight to y'all, and I am going to do a quick treat. Thank everybody joining us. We really appreciate the opportunity. This was so rich for me. Thank y'all. So rich for me, and I appreciate it. So let me do a quick closing treatment, and let's recognize that which we're reaching for, we have. That which we're open for, we have received. And knowing that being open and receptive to the greater good of the divine has been a wonderful experience. And it has given us an opportunity to not only be in that energy, but share it with each other. And as in this sharing, there's a richness that has been added to our lives that will take us into other experiences of richness, of being in the joy, the peace, the love, and the harmony of the divine presence that we know that is always bringing forth through us, for us, and as us, through this divine wisdom of the universe. And with this, we say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And with great love and divine appreciation for everyone that is reaching out with this awareness, we say thank you. And together we let this be our truth to all of you as we say,
And so it is.
And thank you. Okay. Thank you.